Welcome to the RocketGirl Show. I'm Belinda Sandor. Let's get started. Welcome to the RocketGirl Show. I'm Belinda Sandor. I'm thrilled you're here with me today. I am the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor established and aspiring virtual assistants to create, grow, and scale their VA businesses. And I work with my students in my free online community. On Facebook, we have over 50,000 members in our group, which is very exciting. I also work with my students in my courses and my coaching programs. And today I'm going to be your host for the RocketGirl Show, my weekly live stream show that airs Thursdays at 11:30 a.m. And each episode of the RocketGirl Show is designed to really help you move the needle in your business. And today we're going to talk about a topic about how did I become unemployable? And it's funny because when I first heard that phrase unemployable, I thought unable to get a job. And what I mean is never going to have a job, which is completely different, right? Really completely different. So we are streaming on Facebook and YouTube. We are also streaming on LinkedIn. So please say hello. Let me know where you're coming in from. And I'm thrilled to have you here. So we've got George here for sure. And Tammy, hello. And a bunch more. I can see how many people are watching the stream. So definitely jump on in. Okay, good. Now, when I started my virtual assistant business in 2010, I had no idea how much my life was going to improve. Like seriously, no idea. I enjoyed working in corporate. I was in corporate for 17 years. And, I got really used to the regular paycheck, the healthcare benefits, 3 weeks of paid vacation. And I really never understood why anyone in their right mind would start their own business. My dad was a lifetime IBM employee. They used to have an expression from cradle to grave with IBM. And that was definitely my father. My brothers are big corporate people. And that's really, how I was conditioned to think you made a living. You get a job and you go out on your own. I mean, you get a job, you don't go out on your own. It was like, it would be too risky, all the things. But there's so much more freedom and flexibility in having your own business. And the truth is that there's actually less risk because there's this thing that I call the single point of failure. And what I mean by the single point of failure is you go to work one day and someone decides they don't need you anymore and you don't have a job. Where when you have a successful business as a virtual assistant and you have multiple clients, when one client goes away or two clients or somebody retires, you are also always having a new group of clients coming in if you're doing what I teach, so that you're never at risk, for being out of business like you would if you had a job. So I'm in corporate America. I'm cooking along. I'm not really understanding, why people would want their own business until I became a mom. And I know for some of you, it might not be being a mom, but it could be taking care of parents, or it could just, your own illness that you want to manage, or just a lifestyle change that you want. And so I want to talk about the mountains of benefits that far outweigh working for someone else. And we're just going to jump into a few of them. So the first one is you get to set your own hours. Now, to make a six-figure income, if that's what your goal, but you can figure out what your goal is using the same formula, you're going to need to do client work for between 35 and 37 hours a week. But you get to decide when you're going to work, right? You get to decide when you're going to work. So you decide, are you going to work in the mornings, the evenings, the weekends, what combination? And it's really whatever fits your lifestyle. That is such an amazing thing. Now, something I want to mention that came up with one of my VA school students is that she figured out how many hours she needed to bill to make the money that she wanted. So the formula is billable hours times what you're charging. That's how much money you'll make, right? So she figured it out and she did it backwards. She chose how much money she wanted to make. She divided it by her rate. And then she came out with how many hours she needed to be billable. And she came out with 28 hours. Now, her strategy, and I love this, and I did the same thing, I just never really thought about it, is that when I wanted to start a full-time business as a virtual assistant, I didn't have a job. And so I sat at my desk full-time working on my business until the clients came. And then I started replacing the work on my business with my client work. But I got comfortable being in my seat full-time. And my student, she's doing the same thing. So she needs to be in her seat 28 hours and she's working through it because it's not easy to do that, So the thing is like we get to set our own hours and we have to set our own hours. So think about that strategy. If you're having trouble getting started, figure out how many billable hours you need and then start getting in your chair that many hours a week so that you can really consistently work on your business. Okay. Now, the next thing is, we get to decide how much money to make. And the first time I heard that, I thought like my BS detector was screaming, like, what are you talking about? Because my whole life, my bosses told me how much money I could make, right? And so the thing is that it's a very important mindset shift to make. And once you start realizing, you do the math and you look at, how much you want to make divided by your hourly rate equals how many hours you need to bill, and you adjust that so it actually works, you can see how you'll start to have that power, right? So here's some of the things I want to tell you because this is important. Do not give new client discounts, right? Don't work for free. Don't work for testimonials and don't negotiate your rate. Because this is where a lot of virtual assistants get into trouble. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe they can charge 40, 50, 60 plus dollars an hour. And they think that if the work is easy for them, it's not valuable to their clients. And that is not true. So don't start out at $20 or $30 an hour because all you're doing is you're setting yourself up to have a million billable hours because people will realize what a deal you are. And it's very difficult to then, pull yourself out of that. All right. So definitely make sure that you're starting at the rate that you want. You've done the math to figure out how many hours you need to bill, that you're in your seat during those hours, and don't give discounts. Don't give discounts. Okay. Now, and that's how you get to decide what you make. See, the thing that happens is that often we don't do that. And the hourly rate dwindles, right? It dwindles. So we say we're going to charge $40 an hour. And then we say, well, I'm going to give you the new client discount of $30 an hour. And then, this and that and something else and the nonprofit rate. You just don't need to do any of that. All right. You don't need to do any of that. And I highly recommend that you do not do that. Okay. Do not do that. Yeah. Maureen says, stand firm and don't justify yourself to anyone. That's right. That's the other thing you want to do. If someone tells you that your hourly rate is too high, what I want you to say is, I'm not a fit for everyone. No attitude, no anything, just, I totally understand. I'm not a fit for anyone. And you know what? A lot of times when you are indifferent about that because you're clear on your rate, people will think, oh, well, wait a minute. Like, I thought we were going to negotiate. It's like that. And then what I want you to say is, that really wouldn't be fair to my current clients who are paying that rate. And then you stop talking, right? You stop talking. So really, really important. The third thing is you get to work from home. So literally there is no commute, no interruptions. Like the day is yours, right? How many of you have ever had bosses that come to your door on Friday night at 4:45 and have this big important thing they want to tell you that takes 45 minutes and you have plans, right? None of that, no more. Right. So the thing, though, is that when you work from home, you have to make sure that you block your day. We all talk about time freedom, but really what we have is time flexibility. And if you didn't check my newsletter about that, look at the blog. I just wrote a newsletter recently all about that. And it's important to make that distinction because, it's easy to walk down the hall and see that your child, husband, whoever, spouse has pulled a towel out of the linen closet and some stuff spilled to the ground, especially in my house. So you don't want to get into stopping, rearranging the whole linen closet. It's very easy. What you want to do instead is say, oh, those things shouldn't be on the floor. Put them on the bed and come back to it and stay in your groove. Okay. So you definitely want to watch how you're spending your time. At first, it's going to be very uncomfortable. I guarantee it. It will be uncomfortable because you're going to be like, really? Am I like this distractible? I had no idea. But after a while, and after you see the patterns of what you're doing, working from home is amazing. Working from home allows me to get up in the morning, go pick blueberries, see the chickens, have my breakfast, do some work. Lunchtime, I play backgammon with my husband, which you can't do that when you have a job, right? Unless you work with your husband. And it's just such a nice way to live and to get your work done as well. And then often I come back at night because I like working in the solitude of, I have all of the quiet and all of the time, and I can feel like I can use my whole brain. And I love that, I love that. So you get to work from home. The other thing is you get to decide who you work with, because if you're not stuck with that terrible boss or the boss that you got when your boss quit or got fired or all the things, so you do get to decide who you're going to work with. And if a client is not a good fit, you can end the relationship. It doesn't have to be a big thing. And I do see a lot of VAs, I've seen this in the past, where they work with someone who's difficult to work with. And when I say to them, well, why don't you change your relationship and stop working with them? They'll say, well, I really like them. And you can't do that, right? You can't do that. If you don't want to work with them, you can have lunch with them. You don't have to completely sever ties with them, but don't torture yourself, right? When a client's not a good fit, what's the saying? You want to hire slow and fire fast or something. I just sort of made that up. But the point is that, or improvise that, I should say, to make it up, is that, you want to give relationships a chance, but not 2 years. How about like 2 months? And then otherwise you lose that power. The other thing is you're the boss. And again, that's the good news and that's the bad news, because you get to make the decisions in your business, but you have to also make sure that you put the hours in to bring the work in to make the money that you want. Right? So this is not a build it and they will come situation where you get your website up and you this and you that, and you attend one networking event and post on LinkedIn and you're like, I'm done. This is not what that is. Okay. So you have to, and here's the biggest thing. This is the hardest thing. You have to decide how you're going to treat yourself. You have to monitor your expectations. You have to monitor your mindset, because what will happen is you'll sit down and it happens to all of us. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? I should just get a job. This is ridiculous. I don't want to tell anybody about my business. I'm so embarrassed, fill in the blank, all the things. My best friend doesn't like my website. What if she's right? What if everyone hates my website? And what I want you to do is I want you to start saying, what if everything goes okay? What if I get 10 clients? What if I can charge $60 an hour? What if all the good things, and turn it around? And I absolutely did that when I was starting out. And it took a long time to do it. But now I walk into something and I think, well, what if it goes okay? What if we can fix this? What if I ask for what I want, right? Without expectation, without emotion, just get clear on what I want and ask for it. What would happen? So think about that. Now, I cannot imagine going back to the 9-to-5 lifestyle. Getting up, I don't like to get in the shower right away. You have to get in the shower like you're practically asleep, right? In the shower, putting on clothes. I used to stand outside, wait for the bus, get on the train, all that stuff. And, all of my fears about leaving paychecks and benefits and vacation behind, I was able to handle all of that and have so much more security, because I know how to create a steady stream of clients in my business. And that's what I teach you here. Okay. So definitely give this some thought and figure out how, we talked about this in VA school today, figure out how you can put systems in place to make your new life work in a way that doesn't have to be hard. All right. Good. All right. I want to make sure we have a lot of new people who have recently joined our community. We're almost about to hit 51,000 people, but we just hit 50,000 people in the group. And I want to make sure that if any of you are watching and you're not part of our community, go over to the VA Connection on Facebook right now, click the join button, answer the questions, and come on in. All right. I'd love to have you be a part of our community. We have free live trainings every single week. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Rocket Girl Show. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.